3. And hello, and this is Ellen. Deacon and Dear are on today. So this is Deacon Pat Mongan, and I'm Ellen Mongan, and we're going to chat today about marriage and family. And we have a guest couple, and we're just very excited to welcome Jane Ann from Wow Mom, and also dimeadozen.com, and then JR, her husband. She's a dear, and he's a dear too. Here we go. Hi, Jane Ann. Hi, JR. How dear are you today?
Hey, how we doing?
Deacon Pat's going to lead this one.
Yeah, they just bought a new house, so how's it going in terms of stress? Are you feeling stressed?
Stressless now. I'm doing better that we found one and we purchased.
Yeah, when do you have to get out of your old house?
October 21st.
October
so
21st.
great.
That's not too far away, but you got a lot of help.
Start packing.
Many
We're very excited for you, and congratulations.
Amen.
Thank you. We're excited.
It's going to be just so lovely for Christmas. And Deacon Pat's going to lead this one because, we're both leaders in marriage. It's a good thing. So, Deacon Pat, go ahead.
Yeah.
He's fooling with it. Hello, y'all. Here we go.
It's not working.
Your turn. Go ahead. I'll if you don't mind.
Yeah, we'll just cut it out.
Okay.
So we thought we'd talk a little bit about family and marriage. And as we can see in our world, family certainly seems to be under attack in many ways. People divorcing, the idea of family. In fact, recently, some of the stuff that's going on with these protesters and the people supporting them want to do away with families, and they want the state to raise the kids. What does that remind you all of?
Oh, well, socialism mainly.
And communism,
Yeah, well, really and truly, one of the marks of communism, actually, one of the first marks is that when a woman is completely out of the household.
Oh, that's true.
Right, so that the state raises their kids.
Mm-hmm.
So the Our Lady of Fatima message, one of the things that was kept quiet for a long time, and remember that occurred in 1917, and there were 3 children, Francesco, Jacinta, who were brother and sister, Marto, and then Lucia, and she became a nun. The other 2 children died a couple of years later.
So what was the last thing they told the world.
Right.
The church.
So Sister Lucia was asked by Cardinal Caffarra, who was asked by St. John Paul to start a marriage and family institute, and he was having a lot of struggle with that, and he wrote a letter to Sister Lucia, and she came back and said basically that the final battle on earth before Jesus comes would be over marriage and family. But she reassured him and not to worry because Our Lady has already crushed his head. And remember what happened in the Garden of Eden when they fell. What did God say?
Yes, that the woman would crush the head of Satan.
Right,
We have
the
to
snake.
heal under heel, so
Right.
So we do have victory, which is that's praise be to God.
That's right. And the other thing more than ever is so important that large families, like we have 8 children, and you guys have, go ahead, JR.
11.
11. See, so we're trying to raise strong Catholic families that are serve the Lord with gladness. Lots of rosaries, honey, in our house.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we can see, even though we may have the victory, when people say that, I also think of terms of, well, what about the pain and suffering along the way? Having had a divorce in our family,
One of our
we
children.
may have the victory in the end, but divorce I've seen is very painful. It's the gift that keeps on giving pain
So we don't.
year after year.
So what do y'all do? What do y'all do to show your children? I don't know, a good example of a large family working together in marriage and family. What are some tips for this audience?
As far as, that they'll pick out a soulmate that, they're planning on stay together for a very long time. And we're setting it by example, the two of us, that's what you need to be looking for. And there's going to be some highs and lows. Get ready.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And so on our family, what are you going to say about ours, honey, what we're doing? Because our family is, we are a very large family, but all of our kids are married, but one, well, two. We have a marriage coming up. So
Right.
we have had already one
One in the
divorce,
pipeline,
but
so to speak.
they have actually, this is the good news. They're the family that has brought the family together because of because they remarried, they have a new son-in-law a couple years back, right? And they have brought such love to family, and we're a very loving family. But we have what we do.
We all like to get together, and we get along well, and so.
That's a grace. That's a grace. Y'all do that too. Family fun, family Sunday dinners, family gatherings, right? Y'all are always, every time Jay and I get on, y'all are having a confirmation, a communion, a wedding, something.
Birthday. We have birthdays. The month of June is like so many birthdays, and so by July we're like, okay, no more cake.
All right. So the question is, what were you doing 9 to 10 months before
Those are
that?
personal questions.
Yeah.
It's late for us tonight, so we're on like a roll here. So, Deacon Pat, what do you think? What do you think we should talk? What's the main subject you want to cover tonight?
Well, I think, why do you think Satan hates the family so much? What do you guys think?
He loves division, is what I think. And then as long as they're separated, he's happy and they're not.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
And then you find when you're having division, you're unable to function at your full capacity, and that's what happened to Adam and Eve, right?
Right.
Your heart.
Well, the idea is, what does marriage represent?
It represents the union that we have with the covenant that we have with God. So our marriage represents
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Represents the holy family. I mean, God decided to bring Jesus in through a family, and once the enemy can get a hold of the family, then like Jr. said, through division, then it just starts pushing.
Right. And that's what we saw really in the Garden of Eden. Is
Mm-hmm.
Adam and Eve were in union with each other, in union with God, and they became divided. They didn't trust each other. And yet marriage is supposed to represent, we become one. Well, how can we become one? Well, we become one, right, because of Jesus and the grace that comes from Jesus. And we are meant to represent the Trinity, actually, in terms of
Right.
a man and woman. And we are both men and women made in the image and likeness of God. And so the fullness of image must include what? Men and women, not just men.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
So I don't know. I think one thing that we have done in our family is our son-in-laws vote the son-in-law in. So son-in-laws vote the son-in-law in. The daughter-in-laws, we only have 2 right now. We love them dearly, but we have talked to a couple, and we share this on another show. And one son-in-law shared with us that he and his wife, before they got married, agreed that divorce was not an option. I think that's so important nowadays to voice it to each other. This is not an option. Many of our son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws that come in, they have lots of parents, and that saddens our soul. We always love all of them, and we think it's just, this is the thing. If we have to do it God's way, and some things we are just tough, and we have to have mentoring couples, which we believe in, right? Mentoring couples, we believe in. We believe in joining together with other groups of couples just for
Other marriages
gathering,
to support each other, right?
happy
Right.
couples, that kind of thing. I don't know if y'all do
Yeah.
that. We haven't done that here, but we will. eventually.
How many children do you have married?
Just one.
Just
Mhm.
one.
It's all coming, y'all.
One
So-
down and 10 more to go.
You're just pikers in this. You're just getting started.
Right.
We did three weddings in 4 years.
But they're very good at doing the weddings.
So then the grandbaby started coming too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have this year a grandbaby coming on November, right? November, Troy. And we have a wedding coming in
Next year.
November. So it's always, that's what I like to tell moms out there and dads. Having a large family is tough at the beginning. Go on, Jer.
How many total grandchildren do you have now?
14.
14.
That's great.
We have one. I can use one hand to count them.
Well, you got a few more years.
Okay.
Don't you think, Jenna, just like when the babies come one at a time, you can kind of get the first grandbaby.
That's-
Then something come 2 at a time.
Hey, JR, that's nothing. We have some friends who've got 30 something.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
they're the-
great. Love it.
It's wonderful thing. So one of the things I just thought this side of the paper was really good. Honey, if you want to bring up something, because I didn't want to.
Well, when do you think? Well, I thought, when do you guys? What do you see in your experience? Attacks on the family. And when do you think all that started? I mean, obviously in the Garden of Eden it really started, but since then, what kinds of things have you seen that seem to be affecting marriage today?
That's good. That's a good question.
One would definitely be finances, and these folks that don't come in union with, say, separate bank accounts or however they're working. I believe that everybody needs to be together and know everything up front. And then there's no surprises.
Amen.
I think it's the same. I think that we were always open to life, mostly because I was unable to like the NFP. So we were open to life, and that's how we. Some families, they don't realize that if they're open to life, then the joy is yet to come with the large families. What do y'all think? I know y'all were open to life.
Oh yeah, we're wide open.
I said I stuck in the not being open to life.
Well, I don't know about you, but sometimes it was. Oh, the heck with the rules tonight.
we call him Sean, Caitlin. We had no plan Bs but two. That's okay though. You know what? This is a after our show, but we're still gonna keep it on the right side. So, do y'all have anything you want to bring up? Because Pat was gonna bring up some great questions. He's like the question.
Well, you know, one of the things that exactly what we're talking about is, you know, up until the 30s. No Christian church accepted artificial contraception. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yep. No, not Protestants. Nobody accepted it.
Wow.
And so I think that's one of the biggest attacks on the church, because it says, well, having kids and life isn't really that important. It's not essential to a marriage and family. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
But that's really what it says. And so we see all kinds of bad things that follow after that, you know, that kind of thinking.
Well, I believe you're cutting off your blessing, because, I mean, I know a lot of people, well, like Sarah was saying, finances, you know, and a lot of people think, well, I can't afford it. And they're like, yeah, I can't afford college. Well, you know what? It takes faith. It really does. I mean, you have to just, okay, God, you said it. This is a blessing. Our quivers to be, full. It's like the hands of an arrow in the hands. And so you have to really, it really takes faith, and you have to believe. Okay, God, I'm going to believe your word. I'm going to believe what you say. It's a blessing. And so, that's kind of the next step you need to take.
But part of that, is the reality in our society is
Giving.
we have made lots of wants as necessities.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
When they're not really, that people will say things to me, and I'm like, in terms of having a big family, that it's more a matter of what's your priorities, right?
Right.
And certainly you all struggle with that even more than we did in terms of having 11 kids, but as you say, trusting and believing, and then also, well, what are our really needs versus just wants?
Yeah.
Right.
Like our kids weren't given a lot of Christmas or a lot of birthday. They had cake. They did have some. But the thing is, you know what, honey? I really hope that we talk about Daniel Berg. Pat and I were able to go over to EWTN. But it wasn't we were talking about some of the things, and there's a lot of other things we could talk about in terms of that are making it difficult for families. In terms of income, if you go back in the 50s and 60s, the government policies in terms of income tax and the deduction that you got would be thousands of dollars today, and we get very little deduction for kids. That those kind of policies become anti-family.
Oh yeah, most definitely, and you're right. And just to think, one thing comes to mind. A lot of people take family vacations and things like that, and sometimes that's just not always been the way we could do it. I mean, we have family that we go over and visit, which has been a huge blessing. My parents, and but when it was just now there's Airbnb.
That's good. Yeah.
So
that helps
anyway,
too.
now you mean you can't go get 5 hotel rooms. I mean, my God,
Yeah. Well,
Wait.
you-
In
we,
the day,
we
in
have
the day.
we have stories on that because we had a big family and we'd go on vacation
We
and
didn't know about the 5
we,
rooms.
we didn't lie about how many kids we have, but we didn't volunteer how many kids we had.
And we got 2 queens and then a
And
lounge
we
house
we squeeze everybody
on
into
the floor.
we squeeze everybody into one room.
That's how we did. But,
Sometimes we'd take 2 rooms if they weren't too expensive.
Exactly.
And we didn't go out to eat a lot. We really didn't do that a lot. Our kids don't miss that, even though nowadays things we did for our children would seem like we were starving them to death or not giving them the blessing of other parents that have lots of children with lots of presents. So what do you mainly want to say, honey? Do you want to talk about any other stuff? I keep bringing you into the questions.
Well, how do we combat? What do you do to combat this attack on family?
That's an ongoing, I believe, I'm gonna let JR answer, but that's an ongoing thing daily, really and truly, because there are a lot of frustrations. Just for instance, I mean, right now, as we speak through this pandemic, groceries have gone through the roof. We have a lot of guys, a lot of men.
You mean guys that eat a lot, right?
She's like Bonbrake show.
I'm like, Lord, oh my gosh. So, but there again, it's really faith. I mean, I have to say that I do get frustrated. But going back to your question on combating, I think it's a daily thing, really, for me. And JR will have probably something different, but mine is just staying focused on the Lord and doing the sacraments, going to mass.
Amen. Prayer, right?
Prayer, lots of prayer, and just really like, okay, Lord, what is I'm to do now? Really following, what am I to do now, and how do I mean, I even pray before I go to the grocery store. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
That's very good.
JR, what do you think about?
Well, I get a lot of comments, the large family.
Hey, do you know where they come from? Have you heard that one, huh?
That's, I let them know. That's my favorite part. But anyway, we don't talk about this on the street. Jane Ann chases me around, but then I let her. We're not going to talk about this during the show. But anyway, it takes 2 to make a good family.
That's right.
And Jane Ann and I have worked very hard at it. I mean, we've come to terms that, we both have differences on everything.
We're the opposite couple.
Yeah.
He'll pick one way and I'll go the other way. And anyway, but no, to combat against it though, you just got to really just, be in love with your spouse.
That's right.
And that right there, because love conquers all. And that's
Amen.
the word.
Very good word.
That's what you guys proved right there.
Right.
After 2 years of marriage, look at you, still loving each other.
They said this before, so somebody was us. That's funny. No, it is important, right? To every day, Pat and I start the day holding hands most of the time and praying. What do we pray? Come, Holy Spirit.
We ask the Holy Spirit to come in our lives, and we do the St. Michael prayer, and we pray the blood of Jesus over us and our family, and we pretty much do that every morning.
Then we go to our merry ways because we both I have my personal prayer time. He does what he's going to do, and we meet at 8:30 for prayer together. My mom was here, Jane. It was so cute, and she's not really she's what you call a churchgoer. She goes to church, and so she loves to hear Deacon Pat share about I kept trying to push towards the gospel and the readings because she doesn't really understand a lot about what it means, and she just loves Deacon Pat. So she would listen and learn, and I think it was very key in her time here. She just left. She went home to be at Julie's again. But we need to share the gospel with others. But then we start in the home, and our kids are all grown. So I, as a mother, I spend a lot of time praying for our kids. We have a little girl our baby girl having a baby boy in a month, and we've been praying fervently. We did rose novenas, and we did prayers for her, and then we had the wedding coming up with Kendra and Sean. That's the mom and dad's job. I think as they get older and the kids are off on their own, you really can't micromanage their life. Well, we try. We don't really.
Yes,
but we
that's
have
right.
to go
Yeah,
and
that's one of the stages of life that you'll be facing, which is a real challenge when you become grandparents. Is you can't really raise your grandkids.
Just
We
step
were
back.
talking,
Yeah.
we've already been talking about that.
But sometimes it can be frustrating because you want to raise them, you know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
But you know what you can do is you be there, pick up the pieces, and sometimes we know in our own family, some kids are closer to me and some are closer to Pat. They like us both, okay, but then they want to confide in me or ask
If
me.
you say so.
They all love Pat best. They all love Pat best. However, same with the grandkids. There's one, we can't even say who it is. One grandchild just seems to really, he's an older grandchild, and he seems to really glean from Pat's wisdom and seeks Pat out. We find that really endearing because we remember when we were raising children that certain ones like Grandma Mongan, they passed away since they, so like Grandpa Mongan, our sports guy Josh loved to be with Grandma Mongan, and some now they just all love my mom because she's the last man standing. So I don't know. I think a grandparent role is the fact of picking up the pieces and praying, and the mom and dad step back, and then the daughters and sons step forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that you all do is that really is fighting the battle, and that's homeschooling.
Oh, that's good. That's
Oh,
good.
that's right.
Talk
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, we do with homeschooling, and that's been a marathon. That's I've had there's that pride, and I'm like, Lord. So anyway, but I haven't been. I mean, we've homeschooled for about over 20 years, but then some years have not been as consecutive because we've done some private Catholic schools. Because actually, I taught at a school. We've done some public schools. We've done online charter schools. So right now, with everything going on with the pandemic, I mean, I've kind of done it all. But but we.
You ought to be an expert.
What?
You ought to be an expert. 20 years, that many kids.
And Ann's the teacher, and I'm the principal.
Oh,
That's good, though.
Today, it's not good.
do you take them to the woodshed?
Yeah.
But I think what you have to realize, I guess, from my point of view, is you have to just, it's a job. I mean, it's a job. It's my calling. It's my part of my vocation. And that's another thing with marriage. It's like, we aren't in love with our husbands, after they've been married for several years. We don't just wake up and go, okay, I'm not love my husband. No, love is a choice.
That's right.
We have to choose to love our
Amen.
husband.
We choose every day, right?
Amen.
No, Jen, share about your new business or what you're doing. You're new in Denver. I just want Pat to hear about it. I don't even knows. Share what you're doing.
Okay.
Mothers and dads out there, listen up.
I actually am doing homeschool consulting with Jane Ann. That's
Do you have your link?
anyway, I'm doing little 1-minute tips on my Facebook page, and then so anyway, yes, I'm doing homeschool consulting, and I just want to help women. I want to help women get organized, or if they have questions, because there's a lot of curriculum to choose from that can be kind of overwhelming when you're just getting into it, and if you've just been forced into it, or you have toddlers, or you're pregnant with toddlers, so I'm just doing some consulting.
Well,
I've kind of been actually for about 3 years, so I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
That's very timely because
You are blessed.
if you look at what people on the media and discussions going on, there's a lot of people out there who are realizing that there's a lot of stuff going on in schools that are just not good for families,
Right.
and besides the pandemic. In fact, the pandemic has opened their eyes because they're seeing stuff with their kids at home because they're virtual schooling, and they're like, whoa, what is going on here? Propaganda.
Oh yeah. Well, not only that, but they also may realize, okay, my child's in 8th grade and he doesn't know his multiplication facts, or my child.
Ouch.
I've seen it. I have seen it. I have tutored some children, and they were in 9th grade and they were struggling, and it was just a matter of memorizing their multiplication facts. And I've seen it, and so just reading. You could, maybe your kids in your child's in 2nd grade or 1st grade, and they're still not up and reading, which is okay too. So I think you're right. It just opens the parents' eyes to not only the propaganda they're putting out, because they're teaching, socialism they're teaching it really in all the schools, in the private schools, public schools. It's creeped into all the curriculum.
Yeah.
Especially like the history curriculums.
Isn't it interesting that we went to the moon,
Okay.
had some of the greatest advances in science,
Yes.
and gee, it was just the basic R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, it worked fine.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he says. Just the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yep, that's good. I like the arts though, Jan. Do you do the arts at all? Because I'm a big on
Yeah.
dance, music. Yeah, of course, add it in because that's important too for the
Sure.
creative
Like,
people.
we do the art.
Provide opportunities, yeah.
And then you do a lot of sports. You do a lot of sports. You have to blend
Oh,
that
yeah.
Oh yeah.
in. Just work sausage.
Yeah.
We let one sport per child, but one sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do y'all do?
Well, we're like
Basketball is big time.
Yeah, we're like, we can't really do one per child. That would no, we would not be. We would never sleep.
Do y'all count sleep as important?
Well, you know, some of these, yeah, well, some of these families, you know, they have their kids in like a sport every season, you know, and it's like, well, if you got one or two kids, okay, you can do that. But we said, no, one, you know, sport per kid. That's it.
Exactly.
It's so important. It's so important. So, do you want to bring up any other subjects? I'm not even watching the clock. I hope someone's clock watching because we're just having a good time. JR and Jane Ann are our dear friends, and we're sharing today about marriage and family. And thank you. We're going to share some more. I just don't know what he's going to do. I used to lead the show, and I love to see him do this. So go ahead, Nani. What are you doing?
Well, I think, you know, when we look at the attack on the family, we have an opportunity to influence that coming up in the election. Who do we vote for? I think sometimes parents don't, they're worried about the big picture in terms of defense and immigration and everything. Well, who are you voting for in terms of how they're going to affect your family? You know, in terms of economically, in terms of schooling, all those things that affect the kids that we need to take seriously. And I think some parents don't take it as seriously as they should. They sort of delegated it to the state.
Yeah, well, that's how what's happening. I know personally, my plumb line is life. So the candidate who is pro-life and who is all about, you know, saving the babies, that's my plumb line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's my first thing that I look at in terms of if they're not pro-life, I'm moving on to the next candidate.
It's a big election, y'all. Those who are listening, we said the whole show on it the other day on YouTube. It's on Right to Vote. And so please study the issues, right? Look at everything, listen to the material, listen to more than one person talk about it because my mom says that some of the news stations are slanted. We think we listen to just one, we're not saying the name. We're not saying the name of our candidates either. We're just saying, vote your conscience, have a well-formed conscience. What do you think, Jared?
Another 4 years. Oh, I didn't say that. You know, my filter doesn't always work. I'm about pro-life.
We understand.
I do know which direction I want to go.
Yeah, exactly. We can talk about issues all we want.
That's right. That's right. We don't. This is. No one knows our name.
But you know that.
Pat.
But that goes back to
JR,
why did we allow abortion to come in? I believe it goes back to contraception.
Okay.
Well, if you do the research on Margaret Sanger,
Okay.
yeah, that's a scary one right there.
There you go.
Margaret Sanger, you know, started the contraception, founder of Planned Parenthood, and yeah, there's a lot of. She basically wanted to do away with racism.
Right. Oh yeah. They wanted to deal away with poor people and black people, and that's what she said. And you know, it's very interesting. People have pointed out for years, but apparently it's only recently that any references to her are Planned Parenthood, the biggest provider of abortions and killing of babies, is taking her name away. After many, many years that it was obvious that she was associated with them, and they're scrubbing their history too.
Oh yeah. I did. Well, that's another thing. We talk about this with our children, which I think is another way to combat. You know, the question you had earlier, the way to combat. You know, the way of the world creeping in on your family. You know, we talk about issues. We talk about issues at the dinner table. We talk. You know, we bring them up. You know, we talk about them a lot. I mean, you know, I want our children to be well informed, and I want them to learn how to make. We want them to learn how to make conscious, you know, logical decisions as well.
Yeah, we did that too because there's plenty of material out there in terms of, okay, as Catholics, how does our faith relate to what's going on in our society and culture?
Right.
And then I'll bring up something too. Some women, not mentioning names, that like elderly people that don't really read the issues, they think that the pro-life issue is more about women's rights. Remember, honey? And we
Right.
just like we want to tell you that this is not what
And,
it is.
and you know what?
get someone-
My answer
that's
is
good. My
just
God.
tell. Yes, it's the right to kill your baby. That's what the right is all
it's a
about.
very-
Yeah.
We don't even use, pro-choice. I'm like, that word is not even right. That word, it should be pro-death.
That's
Well,
right.
no, you
Yeah.
could say pro-choice to kill.
I say this. I want to make a
Exactly.
positive slant. I say this. You made the choice when you decided to choose to be open to having a baby, and then we just want to commend those who are working in the pro-life movement. And we can't say mention names; it'll be name droppers. But we thank the Lord that some people are just really realizing that. Even we talked about the other day. Remember pro-life, and then the elderly. Remember, and then what you else were going to mention about life more than life from conception all the way to
Yeah.
take care of your elders, honor your mother and father.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
that's why you have the movement in terms of, it's like when I do end of life talks. If we kill babies because they're an inconvenience, what happens to elderly when they're an inconvenience?
Well, you got
Good
euthanasia. That's
Exactly.
And we could be those people. So
That's right.
Be really nice to your loving children. We are one of those people who are going to take care of you. I'd be really nice to mine.
So one of the things too that
I'm so
in
sorry.
terms of we talked about, in terms of how do we combat some of this stuff and support marriage. Obviously, surrounding yourself with like-minded people in terms of the importance of marriage and staying together. But there are things you can do in terms of retreats. You can have Christian couples that meet in some parishes. You can have different kinds of retreats focused specifically on marriage. There's marriage encounter that people can go to. If you are having really serious problems in a marriage, you can go to a retrovi. So there are things out there to help marriages and to help people to stay together and stay in union and to grow more in unity. And so we've done a few things, and we recently went to one. It's called Divine Intimacy in Marriage.
We highly recommend it. By Daniel Burke.
And Daniel Burke, who is a spiritual director, he runs a school in terms of spiritual direction. He used to be the editor for National Catholic Register,
Oh,
and
his dear wife. What was
he decided to go back to working full time in terms of the Avila Institute, which sponsored this.
It's quite a lot of information.
And so we went to the most
Alabama.
blessed sacrament, the shrine of the
Oh,
most
such a great
blessed
time.
sacrament
Okay,
in northern Alabama,
You should take the kids to see it.
which was started by Mother Angelica.
my
And
hero.
it is lovely, and that's where our retreat was. It's in the
Great
middle of
deal, too.
nowhere, and it's just this
peaceful.
peaceful and just spectacular church and surroundings. It's
And
just
all the priests that you see on EWTN are at that are there giving mass, and we got to
Right.
hear them speak. Father John,
for the Father
Mary,
Joseph.
Mary.
Yes, Father Mary Joseph. Yeah.
See, I
Oh,
got
yeah.
the name right. Name dropper.
Yeah.
Oh, go on. What did you get out of it, honey? We got a lot out of it. I got the most out of meeting all the couples that were really younger than us by far, and they all were committed to the Catholic faith. A lot of them wore the veils, which I was so glad to bring my veil, and they were very much, we gotta say the right word, Orthodox for the church, loving the
Faithful
Lord,
to the
Mass,
church.
every-
Yes, trying
I
trying to
wanna
grow
cry.
in their faith. And that was encouraging to be there and see all these couples who
Large
were
families.
obviously trying to be faithful to the church and the church's teaching. So it was encouraging to see that. It was based kind of on Saint Teresa of Avila's Interior Castles. I
Yes.
don't know if you've ever read that.
It's a great
No, I
book.
haven't read it.
And
Okay.
there's like 7 mansions in the interior castle, and they are levels of spirituality that she experienced. It's based pretty much on her experience and recognized by the church.
Right.
So it's something to consider and aspire to. to get to that seventh level, probably for somebody who's married, I'm not sure how that would work. Because this is like stages of
They would
ecstasy
climb on your
and
husband's shoulders and go.
yeah.
So have you been? Are you familiar with Daniel Burke, y'all?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
listened
not.
to him on the radio, on intimate,
Divine
radio.
Intimacy or
I'll look at that.
radio. Yeah.
I've listened to him. He has a podcast, so I've listened to him on that. And going back to what you guys were saying, with marriage, it's definitely, with having children, it definitely grows you in holiness as
That's
well.
good. That's
Yep.
good.
I mean, because as a husband and wife, you are going to have disagreements, and there's sometimes when the wife.
We never have disagreements, Jan.
She said, "Oh, we never have any disagreements." She's lying.
Before the show, just one. I kiss and makeup. My mom said, "Don't kiss in public." What in the world?
I know. Well, I have lots of testimonies. They are going to test too. I was a big feminist, and not the good kind when we first.
Okay.
Oh,
She's off the show.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you what we did. Just this one thing. Maybe somebody in the audience can relate to this.
That's right. Mom's perk up.
I went out, didn't even have a discussion with my husband. I went out and bought a brand new station wagon, a Volvo
She
for
needed it.
$30,000 without even blinking an eye. Like, didn't even talk to him about it. Like,
Oh, I
okay,
see.
this is my choice, my decision. I'm going to buy a car. It was bad. I was really
That was
bad.
not good.
yeah, I would say so.
That's a
How'd
very
you like it? That's funny. But you know what? That is a living grow, right? Living grow.
Well,
I
you-
like the growth and holiness.
But you bring up one of the things that has been a big attack on the
What is it?
family is this
I'm sorry.
radical feminism.
I forgot him.
Right.
See, there it is
It's,
again.
it's really a feminism that doesn't seek to be fully a woman.
Right.
I mean, having abortion and promoting abortion
Sure.
is being more like a man. That's the thing in my mind. It's just crazy in that
Can I have abortion?
it sounds like this radical feminism really is what they want to do is deny their womanhood and become more like men.
But, yeah,
We don't need more men.
we have enough men. But you know what, Jen? I was the opposite route of you. I was a doormat because when I became a
Sure.
charismatic Christian, committed in a Christian community, I thought I was supposed to go, yes, dear. So that's what we call it, Deacon and Dear, yes, dear. And I thought I was supposed to not say what I thought. So I go, it's fine, you're fine. But then I learned that it takes a really strong woman to lay down her opinion. I have that quote myself, honey. It's a strong woman to lay down her opinion. So I now give my opinion. But Pat did like it a little better when I did.
It made life a little easier.
That was easier. So now I give my opinion, and then I lay it down because you can't. I mean, we're not going to duke it out, right, honey? I don't
Yeah.
have any boxing lessons. I don't do karate, and so it's very
Well,
important though. Otherwise, the woman feels like not
As
no dignity.
Saint John
I'm sorry, I
Paul
forgot
would
you.
say,
Here he is.
we are supposed to be mutual.
That's
We are
right.
supposed to be
What is it? How's
loving each other and giving to each
Submission.
other and putting
There's
the
one.
other first, which is, the sacrament of marriage is about getting your spouse to heaven.
Oh, that's a good
Right.
idea.
Yeah.
And so it's a mutuality that and as St. Paul says, we are both in the image and likeness of God, and therefore no one is superior to the other.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
I believe
right.
that, and that's what we call him Saint Paul, John Paul the Great. Yeah, that's what
And
I'm
there you
saying.
go.
Because the women's felt like it's not the same as feminism. It's not like fighting for your rights. As a woman, we're blessed to be the helpmate, and as a man, you're blessed to be the protector, provider, and high priest. But we join together, and we can't really both do. Pat and I do divide roles. I'm super old-fashioned in the year of I do the woman things and you do the man. But when people need help, we don't even. We have another couple living with us, Tyler, our oldest, and Tomoka. No one says, "Can you fold the laundry?" Before I know it, the laundry's folded. It's like everyone's working together to build. It's a beautiful thing. Jay, I hope it happens to you. Someone with one of your kids. Sometimes the kids move back. The boomerang kicks, and you go, "They're back," and you just hide. Open the door. With Tomoka and Tyler, we feel like they can live with us the rest of their life. They're both quiet and gentle, and they think before we even ask them. Right? They're easy to get along with, and and everyone shares.
I don't
such
have to
deep-
cut the grass right now.
That's right. You just have to clean the house.
There
Over
you
and
go.
clean it. No, I'm saying we're all for these kids that are helping out, but it is important in a family. Once you train them up, then we can get along with them. But yeah, tell us how you get along with.
Yeah, so-
there are my days.
You're obviously experiencing that to some degree in terms of how you transition. You know, when our kids are young and they're minors,
That's right.
if you are worried about them being your friends,
Oh.
you have lost the battle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
you can't worry about that. But when they get to be older and adults, you want to be friends.
That's
Right.
right. And then you share and
You're
learn.
still their parent, but there's a way in which you want to become more of a friend with them, and so that
Right.
they're willing to listen. And you know that is a challenge, especially those who are not believers or following the church, in terms of how much do you say and how much do
Yeah.
you bite your tongue, and I don't have easy
Yeah,
answers
I'm
for
not good at
that. That's why you got to have the Holy Spirit working with you, you know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, do you have any children that you are like? You have your daughter, your oldest daughter, is like a friendship thing now, by now, right? Because they work together some, and she
Right.
helps share. And what do y'all think? You got guys too.
We have a great relationship, but I had to learn what to say, you know, like when I could cross a line and
When to fold, when to hold.
cross a line, and she's very, you know, she'll let me know. So basically, you know, but that was a little bit of a tricky, you know, you had to walk through it, you know, and there were some situations where I learned I had to just back off, you know. It was like, okay, well,
I thought
and
you-
that has been a hard thing. That has been a hard thing.
I pray under my breath. God bless her. George, you have the boys. Are the boys living with y'all? I don't really know. Are the 5 boys living with y'all still, or they're out on their own?
No.
We got 3 of them at the house, but a lot of times I'll talk to the boys, and they're very thankful for the work ethic that we
Yes.
put into them. And they're, even today, each of them have different areas that they do a great job at. And that was tough on them, you know, but we're best of friends, all of them.
We're all old fashioned. We like military minded. Pat wasn't military. He was raised by a military dad. So he made sure the men were men, and I made the girls feminine. We had one girl though. I won't say which one. She said she was telling her son-in-law, "My dream is to like ride a horse, smoking a cigar, and shoot a raccoon." I don't know. She's like, really? I'm like such a girly girl. I set my hair, wear makeup, but you know,
Yeah.
teach their own. I couldn't get past it yet. I couldn't get
That's
past
what
it
we're
yet.
working out for anyway.
When she said that, I don't know how many drinks she had, you know.
No, we are not Mennonites. We are Catholic. We eat, drink, we marry, and we don't overdo it because we don't have to go to confession after our party. So, you got your turn. What do y'all think?
But
in your
yeah,
family fun?
that's something to look forward to, though, when you get together, you know, with all the kids and the grandkids, and seeing the grandkids interact and stuff.
Oh,
You know,
yes,
if they all
fun.
stay in the area, that'll be easy for you. But ours have been spread out, and trying to get them all together once a year or twice a year sometimes. We all get together because they were spread out from Hawaii to Louisville to Florida, and most of us were in Augusta. So
But now God's moving and putting them all together in the same neighborhood. So I want to tell y'all, this is what you can look forward to. Yesterday was Brooklyn's birthday. Happy birthday, Brookie. And she wanted to get she went out with her Aunt Carolyn, who's our oldest daughter, because Carolyn's a shopper like me. And Charity was so glad to let Brookie, age 4, go shopping. And they call me on the little FaceTime thing, and they say, "Nana, do you want to get her this coat for her gift? Is it just the right money that I was going to spend on her?" And so she was so happy. They took model shots of her videos. Like, oh, this is the one. This is the little one. So it was so blessed, not so much as she got the coat, that the other auntie took her out. They're all in the same neighborhood. The kids can't be happier. There's like, of the 14 grandkids, all but 3 are in the same state, right? One's
Yep.
somewhere in Kentucky.
Yep.
So we just rejoice that, for one thing, we rejoice that they like each other. We raise them to love one another, and our house is full of friends besides, but they do really want to be near each other. So you have the kids all in the same state too, right? Or do you have anybody out of state?
No, we're all in state right now.
See, so that's good, right? And they may want to always stay. Meredith told me that whenever you move to Macon, no one ever leaves. You come back. So Macon's one of those states. Listen, Macon's that state. I feel like Augusta is too. It took me a long time to realize that Augusta is my home. It really did. So we love that they're there. So what do you want to say, Deacon? Look on your sheet, because you're more of the person with the notes. I'm just like chattering away. Jill, we're going to give you time to talk for a minute. Say whatever you want to say, because Pat's going to see if he's going to sum this
yeah,
up.
what would you say to your kids in terms of
Wisdom.
to your kids in terms of preserving their marriage and fighting the culture?
That's good.
Well, they're going to be pulled in several directions when they get out there. And they need to be careful on who becomes their friends. Are they really their friends? Because that influence is so bad on some of them, trying to separate the marriage. So that's pretty much the big thing, and that they don't get caught up with a bad group. And then, they seem to all come together. We do a lot of Sunday lunches. Everybody shows up. They know they're going to have hoagies and drinks every Sunday. And so, they get together. I hear all the conversations.
Yeah.
And we try to, influence them. Are they good or bad for you? And they're going to make their own choices.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Do they talk to each other in terms of if one of them seems to go in the wrong direction, do the others get on their case?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They keep each other in check. That's for sure.
One of the most fun things I think when your family gathers is family celebrations. Like start out talking about cakes and ice cream, and we would say ice cream, cake and ice cream, and birthdays. But we love once a year, Pat and I, and we shared before, do a family event where Pat rents a beach house. This year, we decided to ask Amanda and Kyle, who have a lovely home in Kentucky, if we could all crash on their home to save money for the upcoming wedding that hadn't been announced yet.
Plus, COVID was in effect.
That's true too.
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So it was such a fun thing, and we have very much celebration children. So one little girl who is very pregnant, she made like a little game. What was it called? What was it called? We had teams. And
Olympics.
We had like Olympics of the family, and she planned them all in divided teams. And I'm going to tell you this: it might seem silly to some of you all out listening there, but old-fashioned fun. I mean, we did the whole three-legged race. We did passing the it was in a balloon but an egg. And I'm going to tell you this: I was glad I was with Tyler because I could have broke my leg.
What
in the three-legged race. And our team was second. We tried harder. And Pat, what would you take? That's what I say. So we had a fun family. It could be the simplest thing that'll build family. It could be like running a race, and one family, the Hartneys. I know a lot of their kids are runners. They go to different places where they have running competitions, and some people even do the triathlon. I can't even say it. Triathlon. It's just family fun. Can take all sorts of form. When they're little, you do Play-Doh and you make paintings. When they get bigger, there's bigger fun to have, and as long as it's clean fun and everyone joins together, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
Right. We're the same way. We do a lot of things. We do put up a volleyball net. We play volleyball. We do a lot of basketball.
See?
Baseball, because we have pretty much an entire.
You got
team.
the whole team. But
There's always beer pong. I mean,
I think we all
get into, but anyway.
But I think those things, that is one of the best ways, and is having fun together is a good way to keep in communication and keep in contact and to build that kind of bond in terms of, one of the things I'd always say, my kids would come to me, and I'm sure they've said this to you, well, so-and-so's family does this, and my pat answer was, I don't care, this is what the Mongans do.
There you go.
So we are going to do last words now, only because I'm never a clock watcher, but my blonde vision, I can see that we have gone almost to our time. So we so enjoyed having you on Deacon and Dear, and y'all are just dear to us. So please share your last words. You take turns.
What
do you
want
to say?
Oh, what do I want to say? Well, you guys, we look up to both of you.
We
You've
look
been
up to
married
you too.
a good while and a large family. Now you got something that you can share with us, because we're not at the point of a lot of grandchildren and married children. So we're just kind of gleaming off of you two.
Thank you so much. And we learn from you as well. Love and children. We are
Hey, listen,
amazed.
half again more kids than us.
I know. You're experts in your own right. Jan, what do you think? What do you want to finish on the show?
No, I just so appreciate you thinking about us and having us on here. And, you're my mentor. And I just want to say, if you to find a couple that you're like-minded with is very important, because to encourage you in your faith, to encourage you in your walk, in your marriage. And that is really, really important, because like you were saying, a friend, you could have somebody that will really derail you if you're trying to take advice from somebody, and you do need somebody like-minded that will, help hold your hand in a difficult time or rejoice with you in wonderful times. Like,
Right.
children getting married and having babies and things like that. I think, that's super important.
Keep us posted on your progress at your new home.
We're so excited.
Yeah,
we
well-
will. We're really.
we'll have to come visit, but don't expect us to do any farm work.
I was gonna say to sum it up that I like mentoring couples because they don't leak. That we was talking about confidentiality. I always stress it with my prayer partners. You don't leak. It's like you have depends on, right? You're not gonna
There you
leak. They say it doesn't. Nothing leaves this room. And then I like mentoring couples because as you're
Except
learning
the
from
video.
them, as they're learning from them, they're learning
Yeah.
from you. And I think we had a slow start today because we start with like a little bit of a
Glitches.
Yeah, glitches, and then we start out with more of a teaching. But the conversation went well, and I do thank y'all. Deacon Pat's going to sum it up too, then we're going to sing our song. We have our own song we sing at the end, Jay.
All
We're
right.
off key, and it's been our song for many, many years. Good. Pat,
Well,
sum it up.
the Lord
I'm sorry.
bless you and all your endeavors. And we look forward to hearing about your progress. And we're excited that you get to share more about your family with others and your experiences. And, so this is a way using the media to share your experiences because people do need to see that, hey, a big family can succeed and be successful.
And be a joy. Jan, can you share your website or whatever you have to share so that people can look up? Because you're the one going forward on the race now in the area of homeschooling. She's had so much experience and she does such a great job. So share your website for them.
It's just you can for my homeschool consulting with Jane Ann on Facebook. It's
So
just right there on
super.
Facebook.
Aren't you so proud of her, JR? I'm proud of her. We
Oh, I sure am.
I'm proud of her.
Soon as the big bucks start rolling in, right, JR?
Hey, let's see the gears. Come on.
No, we're a delight. Please come see us in Florida. We are in Florida, and we are trying to start something for marriage down here. Hopefully, God will put together something for us. Until then, though, we just traveling along,
singing a song, side by side. Bye.
I
The
told you
Lord
how-
bless you.
See you later. I'm
Thank
gonna put
you.
this off. Let's see.
Okay.
I'm stopping it now, guys.